Former French President Nicolas Sarkozy has been on trial in Paris since January 6th for his alleged involvement with late Libyan ruler Muammar Gaddafi. Although most of the case's coverage has focused on the charges against him, an alleged pact of corruption whereby Gaddafi is said to have financed Sarkozy's campaign in exchange for political favors, this case also highlights critical questions about some Western governments' ambivalent relationships with dictators in the global South. Let's backtrack. Nicolas Sarkozy is facing his fifth trial in 5 years and being judged alongside 12 co-defendants, including several former ministers. In 2012, the investigative outlet Mediapart unveiled documents suggesting Sarkozy received 50 million euros in financial support from Gaddafi. What may have lied behind this alleged financial support? Well, Nicolas Sarkozy reportedly sought to cultivate ties with Gaddafi at the time. In 2005, as Minister of Interior, he visited Tripoli to officially discuss combating illegal migration. At the time, Gaddafi was, for his part, eager to normalize relations with the West after years of sanctions and isolation. However, their relationship soured dramatically in 2011 during Libya's uprising, while Sarkozy was president. Inspired by the Arab Spring, Libyans began protesting against Gaddafi's repressive rule. As violence escalated, the international community stepped in. By February, the United Nations Security Council had passed Resolution 1970, condemning violence against civilians. A month later, Resolution 1973 authorized military intervention, and France led a coalition to protect civilians from an impending massacre in Benghazi. But what was framed as a humanitarian mission soon revealed deeper motives. Ultimately, the mission lacked clear goals and left behind a fractured Libya. Gaddafi's death in October 2011 was meant to signal a new beginning. Instead, it marked the start of a descent into chaos. Rival factions scrambled for power, extremist groups like ISIS seized territory, and oil production, Libya's economic lifeline, collapsed. By 2017, output had dropped from 1.6 million barrels per day to just 300,000. This instability triggered a migration crisis. By 2017, over 600,000 people had risked their lives crossing the Mediterranean, fleeing violence and economic despair. The West's response? Silence, or worse, policies aimed at keeping migrants out. Libya's fate highlights glaring contradictions in Western foreign policy. Nations that claim to champion human rights are quick to intervene when their interests align, as Libya, but stay silent in cases like Syria, where atrocities that took place around the same time in 2011 went largely unchecked. Bashar al-Assad's use of chemical weapons and systemic torture, which had been reported for over a decade, didn't trigger any intervention, and he ended up ruling for years over until his recent fall. Meanwhile, accusations of war crimes in Gaza have faced delays in accountability, further exposing the selective nature of justice. Nicolas Sarkozy's trial over allegations of Libyan campaign funding serves as a stark reminder of these hypocrisies and double standards. It's not just about Sarkozy. It's about a pattern of Western interventions that prioritize power and profit over genuine stability and justice in Africa and beyond. But let us know what you think of this analysis and take in the comments below.